Seven, six, five, four, three, two, one.
It's now time for the Keg Sports Podcast with your hosts, Josh Stevens, Tim Thompson, and Tom Schultz. Woo!
Hey there, everybody. We are back with another episode, and we are going to be giving you our top 5 draft prospects for the 2018 NFL Draft at the running back position. Guys, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Fantastic. A position that I love watching film on. Probably watch hours of probably 10 plus running backs already. So
I love it as well. I think running back is probably the only position outside of maybe wide receiver, but wide receiver can be hard at times, where you can instantly see fantasy-wise who you're going to want on your team. Obviously, you know, where they end up plays a big role as well, but more than any other position, big role.
Again, this is a consensus ranking, so it's we'll let you guys know exactly where we have each player on our list as well. But again, do you guys yourselves a favor, go to Twitter, at Keg Sports, at MMA News _Tim, at Keg Tom. Follow us on there. Go to our Facebook, PonyKegSports.com. All that good stuff. So do yourselves a favor, jump on that right away and get the updates, especially YouTube and all that good stuff. So
jump on it.
Without any further ado, we have our list here. Number 5 on the list, we have none other than Damian Harris, running back, Alabama.
personally, he's one of my favorites in this class. He's 5'11", 215, 220 pounds. That short, compact build reminds me a lot of Mr. Mark Ingram, a former running back for the Alabama Crimson Tide. But what has impressed me with this kid coming into the season, Bo Scarborough. He was, in most people's cases, the lead dog, a guy who is going to be a Heisman contender. And Damian Harris has been the best running back by far for Bama for me. I love his vision. He's got great balance, good athlete, and he hasn't been overworked. So he's got tons of tread left on the tires, runs in a pro-style offense, which I love as well. I think he's going to be a day 2 pick.
He is a talented running back. I will give you that. I had him the lowest by far, and I probably had him a little too low, to be perfectly fair.
Way too low.
I had him at number 9, but the reason I did have him lower than some other guys is his pass blocking at times is atrocious. Not that it's not like, oh, it's okay or not. He looks lost on the field in some of his pass blocking. You go back to their week 1 game. I mean, he's literally standing between 2 guys with 2 defenders going right past him, looking around. That makes me a little bit nervous in terms of, where some teams might be drafting him. Talented guy. He's got the speed. He's a very physical back. But in terms of, being a top 5 guy, I didn't have him there because I like some other guys a lot more.
I like to compare Damian Harris, and we said this before the show, to one Kenyon Drake. Again, Kenyon Drake was drafted in the 3rd round. I could see Harris drafted in the late 2nd, 3rd round here. They both played behind bigger running backs that had a lot of hype behind them. Kenyon Drake played behind one Derrick Henry. And now you're looking at Damian Harris here, who is playing behind Bo Scarborough, who last year at the end of the year was getting all the hype. So it's very interesting. He doesn't have a lot of tread on his tires yet, and now you look at Kenyon Drake this year, right? For the Miami Dolphins, they get rid of J.J. Kenyon Drake right now the last 2 weeks blowing up. So maybe that is a factor into it, that maybe Kenyon Drake was a little bit better than we thought, and maybe he is that explosive player. So now maybe Damian Harris goes to a place like that, is able to shine. Maybe he could be kind of a parallel of sorts. I like Damian Harris. Again, the pass blocking, that is a big issue, but He's got to do a better job of that. But I think talent alone, I think he is very deserving being in our top 5.
Yeah, I'll have to go back personally and look at his pass blocking. I don't remember it being horrendous. I don't remember him being put in that situation too often. They have a 3-headed running back group in Bama, and a lot of the times he's on the field, he is getting the football. So I'll have to go back and watch the film, but glad you brought that up, Tim.
Number 4 on our list. Oh, where'd you guys have Harris anyways on your list?
I had him at 9.
3.
9.
I tell you, rightfully so. I did, and
Normally you're drinking a beer and you're drinking coffee, so I'm kind of
drinking
shocked.
It's a situation where I do probably have him a little bit low, but that stood out to me so much, and some of the guys I have in front of him, I like a lot.
You had him where at, Tom?
3.
3. I had him number 5 on the list, so 5 and 5 there. Number 4 on our consensus ranking for the 2018 NFL Draft, Chubb. Nick Chubb, number 4 out of Georgia.
You guys can jump on this Chubb.
So I'll
jump on this,
start.
Chubb.
I'm not feeling it.
Very good. So, I mean, to be fair, Josh and I believe, both had him at 2. Tom had him outside of the top 5, and that's why he is where he is. 5'10", 220. Listen, you go back 3 years, and it was Chubb and Fournette together are the guys who should be able to come out after their true sophomore years and go into the NFL. Fournette goes on, goes through his junior year. Chubb gets hurt, and has to deal with that. He's come back last year. He did not play particularly well. Came back and learned how to play alongside Sonny Michel as well. And now this year he's back. He's the same physical guy. He's got the speed. He's got the explosiveness. He's doing all these things while still splitting time with Michel. He's too much of a talent to not be one of the top 2 running backs in this draft, in my personal opinion. He's not even close to number 1, but outside of Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb is the running back to own. My only concern is, can he go and be a 3-down back? I know, Tom, you and I argued a little bit pre-show because I don't believe that there's a 3-down running back in this class outside of Saquon Barkley. At least not one who's an obvious choice to be one. Nick Chubb has the opportunity, but can he stay healthy? Is that knee really good to go? Lots of questions there. So
I like Nick Chubb. I think he's looked explosive this year. I think he's looked almost better than he has pre-injury. And that's hard for a lot of people to do. I think he's looked really fast out there. He's been catching a lot of the balls out of the backfield, which he normally didn't do before. The most receptions that he had out of the backfield previous years, or actually, I'm sorry, I'm looking at it wrong. He didn't catch the ball a lot at all this year. I take that back. But he still can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can still run the ball very well. He ran the ball 191 times, over 1,000 yards. Little bit, the numbers are down from his previous years carries-wise. But again, that is, I think, 1, his possible knee, and 2, I think Michel is just that good as well. So,
yeah, I didn't have Chubb in my top 5. Personally, I don't think he's been the best running back on his team this year. I think Sonny Michel has been better receiving the football. I think he's been a more explosive runner out of the backfield, and he's a better pass blocker. He's averaging more yards per carry, hasn't been used as much. And if Michel was pretty much on any other team in the country besides maybe Auburn or Bama, he would probably be the lead back there and would probably be well over 200 carries and would probably maybe have even won the Heisman. I think Sonny Michel is that good. And Chubb, I like him. I just don't see it right now. I don't think he deserves to be top 3 or top 5 in this class right now.
It's a very big statement.
Well, with that being said, Tom, you said that he could be over X amount of yards, but look at Chubb. He had over 1,200 yards rushing. Michel had 903 yards with 13 touchdowns. How much of that would have Chubb gained out of that, or if he was on his own? Because I think we could all be in agreement here. If Michel was on a different team, he would have a huge stat line. He would be the number 1 running back.
For sure.
But if Chubb was there by himself and not with Sonny there, I think we can all agree that maybe Chubb would even be moving up higher on our boards, or on your board at least. I think, where do you have him on your list?
Chubb was probably 7 for me.
If he was all alone, I bet you he'd be 3 or 4 on your list.
Not if you can't catch the football or pass block. There's no freaking way. The way the NFL is played right now, you need to be able to do those things. But for me, running, what Chubb reminds me of is a younger Frank Gore, which is a good thing. But I don't think he's that freak of an athlete. I don't think he's that explosive as a lot of people are saying he is. Right now on film, that is not coming out. That is not popping for me.
I want you to take into consideration here Chubb's freshman year, alongside of Todd Gurley, he still caught 18 balls. had 2 receiving touchdowns, okay? Obviously, it went down dramatically, but there was a coaching change. Excuse me. There was a regime change there. They went, obviously, from Mark Richt to Kirby Smart. Things changed. And they had Sony Michel. You have a guy who has played 13 games in 3 of his 4 years. Obviously, he had the injury-ridden season of only 6 games. But you're talking about a guy who's going to finish a hair under 5,000 yards rushing. He already has 42 touchdowns right now alone. He is too talented. You're talking about already 14 touchdowns his freshman year. He has 13 this year. He had 7 in 6 games his sophomore year. And rebounding last year, he had 8 touchdowns alongside of Sony Michel. Over 1,100 yards in all 3 years that he played 13 games. This dude is way too talented. You're talking about a guy who had the setback and has rebounded and exceeded expectations. He's going to probably be close to or over 1,300 yards this year alone while splitting with someone like Sony Michel. You talk about Sony's, what his stat line would look like on another team. Like Josh said, what would Chubb's look like? It would be absurd.
For me, though, it's not about stats. Because if it was, Bryce Love would be number 1 on our list. He had the best year out of any running back in college football, and he is not in our top 5 list. So,
Yeah, well,
it's about film for me.
Yeah, you look at the running backs with the receptions. You're talking about Michel, and you're talking about Chubb here. Michel only had 5 receptions this year, but to your point, Michel also had 22 the year before and 26 the year before that. So I do see your point, but at the same time, with Chubb only getting 3 receptions and Michel only 5 receptions, you can't really say that he's not a receiving or can't catch the ball in the backfield, because his very first year he had over 10 receptions. Not a lot, but still.
As a Georgia fan, what I will tell you is when the regime change happened, there was a lot of confusion there on what they were. Obviously, that sophomore year for him was different, but these last 2 years, you're talking about 2016, what they start with? True freshman quarterback in Jacob Eason, right? This year they had Eason for a couple of games, and then they go another true freshman quarterback in Fromm. While both of them played well, it's just not in their MO. They have these 2-star running backs, and neither of them are big-time catching backs. It's not how Kirby Smart's squad runs their team. They're not a dump the ball to the running back type team. That's just not the game they play.
Moving on to our number 3 player on our list for the 2018 NFL Draft, running back Kerryon Johnson, Auburn. Very interesting player, very interesting situation. What do we think?
Finally, a guy that all 3 of us like, or that we all feel pretty confident about in this draft. Right now, Kerryon Johnson having a great year at Auburn, and he's doing it against awesome SEC defenses, something we didn't bring up with Chubb and Harris. All 3 of these guys are SEC running backs, and probably facing the best or the most freakishly athletic and fastest defenses in
Auburn,
college football.
Georgia, Alabama alone are 3 of the top defenses in the country.
And Kerryon Johnson, what he's been able to do against Georgia when healthy, the first time they played, and then against Bama, he was a big reason why they won both of those games. For sure. And then him being injured in the SEC championship game was probably a big reason that Auburn lost that game. But for Johnson, he's got great patience. He's I know Daniel Jeremiah came out recently and said he reminds him of a little bit of Le'Veon Bell, and he does have that patient style of run. But he's got the ability to pass block. He's got good balance, and he reads blocks well. I really enjoy watching this kid on film, and I enjoy what he did to SEC defenses this season.
I like Kerryon Johnson a lot. I actually had him. Where'd I have him at 5? Yeah, I had him at 5 myself. I like him a lot. He's talented. I think that it's worth noting, in my opinion, take away the Georgia and Alabama game, and the first Georgia game and the Alabama game, and we are not talking about Kerryon Johnson. Those 2 games made him and pushed him this far along. And is why I think he should definitely come out this year, regardless of his health, whatever, because, unless he comes out next year and, dominates on the running, which he could, I feel like he could potentially drop. His stock has never been higher. Right now, his stock was not this high coming into the season. Big physical back. There's some durability issues there, definitely, which is another reason why I think he should come out right now. But a big physical back. He looks great when he's healthy. I mentioned it to you guys pre-show. I think Steedham and Kerryon Johnson, if they come back and they're both healthy for their senior years, they could win a national championship game. Because that offense that they have built around those two guys, you saw this year, when it runs smoothly, it's tough to beat.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see if Kerryon Johnson comes out for the draft. And just like you said, Tim, he could and he could not. It could be one way or another. I think he may go back to school. I think that he should come out, but I think he's going to go back to school.
Why?
I just think that there's going to be some talent evaluators that look at that shoulder of his, regardless of him playing with that injury against Alabama and Georgia. I think they're going to look at that and say that there's a possible situation where it's going to be a chronic issue for him. He did miss 2 games earlier in the season against Clemson. I would have liked to see what he could have done against that Clemson defense, and the other game didn't really matter too much. It was against Mercer, so it is what it is.
Fair enough.
Anything else on Kerryon?
Nope.
Moving on, number 2, or would you guys have Johnson on your list?
Item 4, I believe.
I had him at 5.
Okay.
Where'd you have him?
I didn't have him on there at first because we said that we didn't know if he was coming out or not. Then we threw him on there. I then moved him to 4 on my list.
How the hell did he end up at 3?
I don't know.
All right.
Chubb wasn't ranked.
Oh, Chubb wasn't ranked. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Next up, number 2 on our list, we're gonna have Geis out of LSU.
My boy, Darius Geis, big fan of the kid. Almost that ideal size for a running back. A little bit under 6 foot, probably close to 220 pounds. But I like this kid. Again, another SEC running back, tough competition. A little up and down year for the kid, but he's still over 1,000 yards, double digit in touchdowns. I just like the physical nature that this kid brings to the table. When he is healthy, he might be the most physical running back in this draft class, and that's saying a lot for me. I just like the kid overall. I think he's got potential to be a day 1 pick, and I think he could completely change a team, put him on the Lions or the Dolphins. I think either of those spots would be wonderful, and I think he can completely change those teams and give them a physical nature that they're looking for.
Tom also likes the fact that he can squat over 600 pounds.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, not too bad.
So, Geis snuck into stardom last year when Fournette was injured or just slow playing before he went into the draft, and took full advantage of it. Very similar to how Nick Chubb did when Todd Gurley got hurt, and Sony Michel did when Nick Chubb got hurt. Kind of interesting how all these SEC teams, like you said, next guy down, one guy down, next man up type situations. I agree with Tom completely. Geis is a beast. I'm interested to see his measurables at the combine. I don't know if he's as big as he says he is. He doesn't look it to me. Very physical, sheds tackles well, reads the field well. I agree with Tom completely where he can be a difference maker for a team. You put him on a team like the Lions, perfect. That would be a perfect spot for him. I don't think he's going to last that long, but it would be a perfect spot for him. I like Geis a lot as well.
Yeah, I thought he looked better at times last year than Leonard Fournette did. And we've talked about that over and over again. And look how good Leonard Fournette is right now on the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Excuse me? Who?
I thought Geis at times was the better running back. But it's going to be very interesting. I like Geis. I like what he brings to any team. And again, you put him on a team that needs that running back. It just makes a lot of sense. And I'm okay with Geis being picked as the first, or not the first, but the second or third, or if worst be it 4th running back, but he should definitely be in that top 3 running back consideration.
For Geis, I think there's going to be 2 drills at the combine that are extremely important. Pass blocking, which I think he's going to excel at. He's done a good job. They didn't ask him to do too much, but what I saw of him, he seemed like he was a lot better blocker than anyone else in this class. And also pass catching. Last year, a lot of people were saying Leonard Fournette could not catch the football. A lot of that was because LSU does not throw to running backs. If he shows that he's a natural hands catcher, that it's natural, that he's not fighting with the football, then he's a day 1 pick. Yeah. I think lock it in.
Yeah, and LSU's quarterback play has been atrocious for the last few years.
Awful.
So I agree, especially seeing what Fournette's been able to do for Saxonville. I think it's going to help Geis.
I had Geis number 3 on my list.
2 for me.
I had him at where did I have Geis? I had him at number 3.
All right. Number 1 on our list, running back, Saquon Barkley, Penn State.
Just a total package, man. Perfect size. I love those guys that are just under 6 foot, over 220 pounds. This dude could take a licking. Fantastic receiver out of the backfield, and he has shown that he can be that elite pass catching back, like the Todd Gurley's in the NFL, Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson. That's what makes those guys so valuable to those teams, and that's what's going to make Saquon Barkley a top 5 pick in this draft. He's an elite running back. He's got more potential than Ezekiel Elliott, than Todd Gurley, than Leonard Fournette, and he should be taken that early in the draft.
So in our mock last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, I had Saquon Barkley going number 1 overall. You guys said it wasn't possible, or I shouldn't say not possible, but you guys did not agree. In my opinion, he is a franchise-changing running back. You put him on a team, and he changes the atmosphere. He changes everything. He can run. He can receive. He can do special teams. He can do everything. The only con for him right now is, does he do too much? Is he going to be asked to do too much on that next level? He's a freak. He's a gym rat. He does everything well. It's a no-brainer to me, especially with an organization like the Cleveland Browns, where you need someone to be the face of your organization. It doesn't have to be a quarterback. And when you have, right now they have the 1st and 5th pick in the NFL draft. The difference from this running back to even a Geis is miles, in my opinion. Miles.
I think Tim was onto something last week, and it pains me to say that. I think that if everything stays the way it is right now, records-wise for the NFL teams, Saquon Barkley will be the number 1 overall pick if the Browns are picking in that spot. And I think that they may not even go quarterback with that 2nd pick. They might just roll out with Kaiser and see what they have in Kaiser, and now one Saquon Barkley. Give Kaiser some weapons, such as one Josh Gordon. He looked phenomenal Kaiser-wise last week in the first half of the game, going into the 3rd quarter. Yeah, he struggled at the end, but that is just the type of talent. You have to surround him with talent, and that's the same thing that Notre Dame did. When Kaiser was at his best was when he had as many talented pieces around him. Same thing you could say with the Rams with one Goff. So
I'd only agree with that, Josh, is if they're trading back in that like 5th pick. If it's like 5th, so it's where they're gonna trade back and then get another 1st-round pick for next year or something like that. Then I would agree.
Either that or you get an offensive lineman there. I wouldn't hate that.
Their offensive line, I think, is already it's pretty good.
It is.
It's pretty good, and if you can get if you could get a Darnell or a Rosen, which I don't think you will, but even an Allen or a Lamar Jackson, and then you have 2 quarterbacks, potentially franchise quarterbacks who will compete and push each other, why wouldn't you do that? You're setting yourself up for the future. That's what the Browns need to do with big name guys. That's the benefit of having 2 top 5 picks. You're telling me the city of Cleveland won't be excited about that?
Yeah. Anything else? Any running backs that we left out? Obviously, the big
20.
name. Yeah, obviously the big name is Love. We left Love off the list of the top 5. He kind of fell down there for us. I had Love. It's number 7 on my list. Where'd you have Love at on yours?
I only ranked 5, and he was not ranked.
Oh,
I had him at 4.
4. Okay.
Yep.
I like Love. Again, the replacement for Christian McCaffrey, but it's a different style running back. It's like it's so weird because you have remember the years where you have a Heisman winning quarterback, right? Troy Smith, Ohio State. This kind of reminds me of the same situation. Bryce Love is getting all the talk, and then when he goes to the pros, he doesn't do much. I could see that same situation happening with Bryce Love here. So
only thing that keeps Bryce Love out of being a top 3 running back in this draft are those ankles. How healthy is he? Is he going to be able to be ready in time for a pro day, the combine? How bad are those injuries? If he's that hurt, then he's only a junior, right? A redshirt junior?
I believe so.
Then he should go back for a senior year and improve that stock, go win the Heisman. The deep running back class this year, when realistically he should be a no-brainer top 3 to 5 running back.
Ronald Jones, the 2nd, was left off our list. I had him at number 6 overall. Again, another good running back out of USC. Kind of interesting to see him, what he does at the combine and where he goes from there. I could see him flying up draft boards if he has a great combine.
He could be a game changer. A lot of guys that I respect have been comparing him to Jamal Charles. He's got that type of speed, and he's got some power for only being a little bit over 200 pounds. And you compare him against Love. Size-wise, I think he looks a lot bigger than Love does. Love does not look like he's anywhere near close to 200 pounds to me.
No, and I had him at number 7. Josh, I couldn't agree more. He was probably my favorite running back to watch.
He's fun
on tape.
Yep.
Fun to watch, especially what he's been able to do in that offense, where that's not the focus. That's not what they do, and he makes them do it. Great vision, powerful. Just I love them.
2 last running backs, Royce Freeman out of Oregon. We talked again before the show about this situation with Royce Freeman. He plays in that spread style offense, everything like that. And one other running back that I've been watching a lot of, and I don't know how I feel on him yet, is Josh Adams out of Notre Dame. I don't know if it's him just being a pretty good running back or him with a really, really good offensive line. So, kind of indifferent on him.
His offensive line is going to play a factor in how teams view him, but he broke a ton of tackles this year. A ton. That alone should show, with that schedule that they had, it should show how good he is. I've seen people have him out of the top 10. I think that's ridiculous. There's no way he's not a top 10 running back. As long as he's healthy, the way he was able to shed tackles, his strength, his speed that he was able to show this year, I don't get it.
A guy for me that I absolutely love, Rashad Penny, San Diego State. He's killing shit. He hit over 2,000 yards this year, 19 tutties. Also has shown that he can catch the football, 18 receptions, but was used a lot this year. But I like this kid. I think he could be one of those Kareem Hunt types, the smaller school running back that comes out and ends up being drafted in the 3rd or 4th round.
Very good.
Anything else, guys?
Nope.
So many running backs.
There is,
Wow.
yeah.
There's like
we thought it was deep last year.
this running back class could be game changing. We could see a lot of vets either having to retire or not having a job anymore because there's going to be so much talent being infused at the position.
It's going to be hard for the Matt Fortes and Bilal Powells of the world
Very true.
to keep their jobs.
All right, well, that's all we have for you guys this time. Hope you guys enjoyed our 2018 NFL rankings for the running back position. If you guys have not done so already, check out the quarterback one that we just did. It's on YouTube. It's on iTunes, Spreaker, everything that you can find a podcast on. Again, go to our website, ponykegsports.com. We have fantasy articles on there. We're going to have a big board on there eventually as well. And follow us on Twitter, at ponykegsports, at MMA News _Tim, and at ponykegtom. So, until next time.
Peace!